Long before humans learned to fear the open ocean, before whales grew to dominate the seas and modern sharks refined their form, there existed a predator so overwhelming that it redefined what it meant to rule an ecosystem. Megalodon was not simply a large shark. It was a force of nature, an evolutionary endpoint where size, power, and efficiency converged into a single organism designed to dominate without challenge. The ancient oceans in which Megalodon lived were warmer, richer, and far more crowded than today's seas. Massive marine mammals flourished, early whales migrated across continents, and competition among predators was intense. In this environment, survival favored extremes. Megalodon emerged not through sudden mutation, but through a long evolutionary escalation, each generation slightly larger, slightly stronger, slightly more efficient than the last. At full size, Megalodon reached lengths that dwarfed any living shark. Its body was thick, muscular, and hydrodynamically optimized for sustained cruising rather than speed bursts. This was not an ambush predator hiding in reefs or shallow waters. Megalodon ruled the open ocean, where there was nowhere to hide and nowhere to escape. Its sheer presence altered the behavior of every other large animal in its range. The most defining feature of Megalodon was its mouth. Rows of massive, serrated teeth formed a circular weapon system capable of catastrophic damage. Unlike modern sharks that rely on repeated bites to weaken prey, Megalodon was built for decisive force. A single well-placed bite could shatter bone, collapse lungs, and end a hunt almost instantly. Fossil evidence shows whale bones bearing deep bite marks, ribs crushed, vertebrae snapped clean through. These were not scavenging marks. They were signatures of active predation. Megalodon's bite force remains unmatched in the known fossil record. It exceeded that of any terrestrial predator and surpassed modern great white sharks by an order of magnitude. This power allowed Megalodon to target prey that other predators could not: large whales, armored marine mammals, and even other apex predators. In doing so, it controlled population sizes and influenced migration patterns across entire ocean basins. Its sensory capabilities matched its physical dominance. Like modern sharks, Megalodon likely possessed electroreception, detecting the faint electrical signals produced by muscle movement and heartbeat. In the vastness of the ancient ocean, this ability transformed distance into vulnerability. Prey did not need to be seen to be found. Movement alone was enough. Despite its size, Megalodon was not clumsy. Its body design suggests efficient energy use over long distances, allowing it to patrol enormous territories. Fossil teeth discovered across multiple continents indicate a global distribution, from coastal nurseries to deep offshore hunting grounds. Young megalodons likely grew in protected shallows, while adults ventured into the open sea, where dominance was absolute. The ocean under Megalodon was not silent. It was a world shaped by fear, avoidance, and adaptation. Whales evolved larger sizes and complex social behaviors. Some species altered migration routes, others disappeared entirely. Every change rippled outward, driven by the presence of a predator that could not be ignored. Yet even the most dominant ruler exists within limits. Megalodon's supremacy depended on warm waters, abundant prey, and stable marine ecosystems. These conditions, once taken for granted, began to shift. Ocean temperatures cooled, prey distributions changed, new competitors emerged. The stage was slowly being rearranged, and the greatest predator the ocean had ever known was about to face a world no longer built for it. The dominance of Megalodon was not built on spectacle, but on efficiency perfected over millions of years. In the ancient oceans, energy was everything. To grow as large as Megalodon did, to maintain a body that demanded constant fuel, required a hunting strategy with almost no margin for failure. Every movement, every pursuit, every bite had to matter. Waste was not an option. Megalodon hunted in a world without cover. The open ocean offers no trees, no rocks, no hiding places. Survival favors those who can detect, pursue, and overpower in open space. This environment shaped Megalodon into a cruiser rather than a sprinter. Its swimming style favored long-distance efficiency, allowing it to patrol vast stretches of ocean with minimal energy loss. It did not chase endlessly. It intercepted. It predicted. It waited. Prey selection was strategic. Fossil evidence strongly suggests that Megalodon specialized in hunting large marine mammals, particularly early whales. These animals were rich in fat, providing the massive caloric payoff required to sustain such a large predator. A single successful kill could fuel Megalodon for weeks. This dependence on high-energy prey explains both its dominance and its vulnerability. Attack patterns inferred from bite marks reveal a chilling level of precision. Megalodon often targeted the chest and flippers of whales, crippling their ability to swim before delivering fatal bites. By disabling movement first, it minimized struggle and reduced the risk of injury. This was not brute force alone, it was anatomical understanding encoded by evolution. Fear reshaped the ocean around Megalodon. Marine mammals altered migration routes to avoid known hunting grounds. Some species began traveling in tighter social groups, relying on numbers for early detection. Others increased body size, a classic evolutionary response to predation pressure. In this way, Megalodon did not merely consume prey, it drove evolutionary change. Juvenile megalodons occupied a different ecological role. Evidence suggests that young individuals were raised in coastal nurseries, shallow warm waters rich in smaller prey and relatively free from larger competitors. These nurseries offered protection during the most vulnerable stages of growth. As juveniles matured, they gradually expanded into deeper waters, eventually joining adults in the open ocean hierarchy. Competition existed, but it was limited. Other large sharks shared the seas, and early predatory whales began to emerge, but none matched Megalodon's combination of size, power, and reach. Encounters between apex predators likely occurred, but Megalodon's advantage was clear. It did not need to prove dominance often. Its presence was enough. The ocean ecosystem under Megalodon was balanced by control rather than abundance. By regulating populations of large marine mammals, Megalodon indirectly influenced plankton cycles, nutrient distribution, and even carbon flow through the ocean. Apex predators do not sit at the top in isolation, they shape everything beneath them. But balance is fragile. As geological time passed, the oceans began to cool. Polar ice expanded, altering currents and redistributing nutrients. Some whale species adapted by growing larger and migrating farther. Others vanished. The predictable availability of massive prey began to decline, and with it, the foundation of Megalodon's success. At the same time, new predators appeared. Smaller, faster, more adaptable sharks and increasingly intelligent predatory whales emerged, capable of cooperative hunting and flexible diets. These competitors did not challenge Megalodon head-on. They outmaneuvered it, exploited changing conditions, and thrived where specialization became a weakness. Megalodon remained powerful, but power alone was no longer enough. The oceans were changing faster than its evolutionary pace allowed. What had once been the perfect predator for a stable, warm ocean was becoming oversized for a cooler, more fragmented world. The ruler of the ancient seas still dominated, but the cracks were forming. And in the deep, silent water, dominance was beginning to mean something very different. The fall of Megalodon did not come through defeat in battle. No single rival overpowered it. No sudden catastrophe erased it overnight. Instead, its decline unfolded through a slow tightening of constraints, a narrowing of possibilities in an ocean that was no longer shaped for giants. The world did not kill Megalodon. The world moved on. As global climates cooled, the structure of the oceans transformed. Currents shifted, nutrient flows reorganized, and the warm shallow seas that once served as ideal hunting grounds began to shrink. Tropical and subtropical waters retreated, replaced by cooler, less predictable environments. For a predator dependent on warmth to sustain its massive metabolism, this change was profound. Megalodon was not cold adapted. Its physiology favored warm water efficiency. Cooling oceans meant higher energy costs just to remain active. At the same time, prey species, especially large whales, responded by migrating toward colder regions where Megalodon could not follow as effectively. Some whales grew larger and faster, others developed more complex social structures, traveling in coordinated groups that increased early threat detection and defense. Perhaps the most significant shift came from competition, not in size, but in strategy. Early predatory whales began to rise, smaller than Megalodon, but smarter, faster, and social. These animals hunted cooperatively, communicated, and adapted quickly to changing conditions. They did not attempt to replace Megalodon directly. They filled the gaps it left behind. Meanwhile, new shark species evolved with leaner bodies and broader diets. They required less food, matured faster, and reproduced more efficiently. In a changing ocean, flexibility became more valuable than dominance. Megalodon's greatest strength, its specialization, became its greatest weakness. Juvenile survival rates likely plummeted. Coastal nursery habitats were among the first ecosystems to be altered by sea level changes and temperature fluctuations. Without stable nurseries, fewer young megalodons reached adulthood. With long generation times and slow reproduction, population recovery became impossible. Fossil records reflect this decline not as a sudden disappearance, but as a thinning presence. Teeth become rarer, geographic range contracts. Once global distribution fragments into isolated regions, then fades entirely. The megalodon does not vanish dramatically. It simply stops appearing. There is no evidence that Megalodon survived into modern times. The idea persists in popular culture because the ocean is vast and mysterious, but biology leaves signatures. A predator of that scale would leave unmistakable evidence, kills, remains, ecological disruption. None exist. The silence is complete. What makes Megalodon's extinction so revealing is its clarity. This was not a marginal species. This was the apex of apex predators, removed not by weakness, but by mismatch. The environment changed faster than evolution could compensate. Power could not negotiate with physics. Size could not outrun temperature. The ocean, once shaped by Megalodon's presence, adapted without it. New balances formed. New rulers emerged. Life continued, as it always does, indifferent to legacy. In the deep time of Earth's history, dominance is temporary. Even the greatest predators are tenants, not owners. Megalodon ruled the seas for millions of years, but when the conditions that supported it dissolved, so did its reign. And in the deep, dark water where pressure crushes sound and light disappears, the age of giants came quietly to an end. In the absence of Megalodon, the ocean did not collapse. It reorganized. Life filled the vacuum left behind, not with a single replacement, but with a network of smaller, faster, more adaptable predators. This is how nature responds to loss, not with mourning, but with redistribution. The throne of the seas was not inherited, it was dissolved. Modern science approaches Megalodon with restraint. No speculation survives without evidence. Teeth tell the story clearly. Their size, distribution, and sudden disappearance form a clean line through geological time. There is no overlap with modern oceans. No ambiguous trace. No ecological footprint that suggests continued existence. A predator of that magnitude cannot hide, not biologically, not ecologically. The myth persists because humans fear the unknown, but science thrives on patterns, and the pattern is complete. The fascination with Megalodon's possible survival says more about humanity than the animal itself. The deep ocean remains largely unexplored, and into that darkness, imagination pours. But mystery does not equal possibility. The conditions that sustain Megalodon, warm oceans, abundant megafauna, stable nurseries, are gone. Even if one survived against all odds, it would not endure long enough to remain invisible. Apex predators announce themselves through impact. What Megalodon leaves behind is not fear, but clarity. It demonstrates the limits of dominance. It proves that being perfectly adapted to one world can be fatal when that world changes. Evolution does not reward strength alone, it rewards timing, flexibility, and balance. Megalodon had everything, except adaptability to a cooling planet. In a broader sense, Megalodon is a chapter in a recurring story. Earth has seen many rulers, giants of land, sea, and sky. All eventually fell, not because they were flawed, but because permanence is an illusion. The planet does not preserve hierarchies. It reshuffles them. Today's oceans carry echoes of Megalodon in their design. Great white sharks bear structural similarities. Whales still migrate along ancient paths shaped by predation pressure long gone. Even absence leaves architecture. The ghost of Megalodon still bends behavior, still whispers through instinct. And yet, the lesson is not about the past, it is about the present. Modern ecosystems are changing faster than at almost any point in Earth's history. Species alive today face the same challenge Megalodon once did: adapt fast enough, or be left behind by physics, chemistry, and climate. Megalodon did not fail. It finished. It ruled for millions of years, reshaped oceans, forced evolution to respond, and then exited when the conditions no longer allowed its existence. No panic, no drama, just the quiet certainty that even the ultimate predator answers to the planet. In the deepest waters, where light cannot reach and sound dissolves into pressure, there is no trace of teeth, no shadow of fins. Only water, moving on. The age of Megalodon is over. The ocean remembers, but it does not repeat.